Talking with the experts.
Want to learn how to host a profitable virtual summit and create an audience of raving fans? Nilofer Safdar in episode 291 tells you how.
So, if you love what you're doing, you're going to do an amazing job. And the other thing is that invite speakers whom you want to learn from. And this was exactly what my thing was whenever I was doing my virtual summits. So I would invite speakers that I wanted to learn from, and I was really eager to learn from them. And so when I was sitting in front of them, when I was, interviewing them, it was like I had this burning desire. Oh my God, they're so amazing, and I get to have them for 1 hour. And this I can ask them all the questions I want to ask. And the other thing that I loved doing was I loved doing live interviews. So I would have live interviews, and I would have callers who would come in live and who would ask their questions and all, and that was amazing.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. This is where we discuss great ideas to take your business to the next level. How do we know these ideas work? Well, it's because we're talking with business owners who are using these ideas. Business owners who have years of experience and expertise. All things business by business owners for business owners. And now, here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And I just want to ask you this question. Have you ever run a profitable virtual summit? And has that created an audience of raving fans? My next guest, Nilofer Safdar from the United Arab Emirates, is going to discuss with us about how virtual summits can help online businesses add thousands of email subscribers to their business. Now, Nilofer is well known in her industry as a fun, energetic executive sales coach who leads with her heart. She is known also as a fun, transformational coach whose rigor and intellect is matched by her compassion. And she has been a money and mindset and success coach since 1992. Welcome, Nilofer, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Rose. It's wonderful to be here with you talking about virtual summits.
Yes, I'm just about to manage an online virtual summit next week for 3 days. So I'm doing all the behind the scenes things. So we're hoping that we make a little bit of money out of it. So that'll be quite nice. But what got you into virtual summits and creating and training people to be successful at them?
So I actually hosted my first virtual summit in 2011. And, I'm into the personal development, self-development kind of niche. And, 2012 was the year when, everything was going to change and, all of that. So I said, you know what, I want to do a virtual summit, which is like a year long. And I wanted to start on 11/11/11 and end it on 12/12/12, so that we could pass through that thing, And so I ended up doing my virtual summit. I did not go on for a year because, after 7 months, I just felt that I needed to do something different. But for 7 months, I interviewed 65 experts. And when I started, I had no online business. Before I started, I was a healer, and I used to see, in-person clients, and I was doing good. But, I always had this thing about the online space, and having lived in Saudi Arabia, I felt like, I want to be able to live anywhere in the world, be connected to the whole world. and share my gifts and also learn whatever I want, just sitting at home. So the virtual summit was the perfect thing for me. And at that point of time, I really had no business, as in the online business. And I had two small kids. So one was 2 years old, one was 6 years old. And I was in a new country because we had just moved to the UAE from Saudi Arabia. And I wanted to be able to do something, but didn't necessarily want to go out to work. And so I started the virtual summit. And that at that point of time, I used to do my interviews at 4 a.m. because that was the only time my two rambunctious boys were asleep and it was all silent, so I could do my interviews. And those 7 months really, they changed my whole life. They changed my whole business. They gave me, like, I added 1,800 subscribers to my email list. And it was just amazing. Like, the whole world opened up for me.
Wow,
So
that's pretty impressive.
exactly. And then after that, I just ended up doing summits, and I did virtual summits, which were totally out of the box. Like, I just did whatever I wanted to do. So I didn't follow that, it should be this format, do it in this way and that way. And I just went ahead and just had fun doing it. And, from my third summit onwards, I had consistent 5K summits. So that was like, it was amazing. And so I built up an email list of almost more than 25,000 subscribers. And after that, I, started doing my coaching and, of course, healing and coaching and all of that. So this gave me a very good platform from which I could launch my own programs and stuff like that. So it's been a very, very transformative and amazing journey for me.
Sounds like it. Wow. What makes a good virtual summit?
So I think the most important thing is to select a topic that you really love. So, if you love what you're doing, you're going to do an amazing job. And the other thing is that invite speakers whom you want to learn from. And this was exactly what my thing was whenever I was doing my virtual summits. So I would invite speakers that I wanted to learn from, and I was really eager to learn from them. And so when I was sitting in front of them, when I was, interviewing them, it was like, I had this burning desire. Oh my God, they're so amazing. And I get to have them for 1 hour. And, this, I can ask them all the questions I want to ask. And the other thing that I loved doing was I loved doing live interviews. So I would have live interviews and I would have callers who would come in live and, who would ask their questions and all. And that was amazing. So the recordings that I ended up creating from my virtual summit was so valuable that people were really willing to pay money for the recordings. And that's how, my summits were so profitable. And I became known in my particular niche as that person who does this virtual summit. The other thing that occurred was, and most of my virtual summit, I did it in a very micro niche. And this is a type of kind of, you could call it a healing modality called access consciousness. And so I became known throughout as this woman who does the virtual summit. And so I would have speakers who were excited to be on my summits, because what started to occur was that when they came on my summit, they were exposed to this worldwide audience. And then, they started getting invited to different countries to go and do their workshops and their programs. And so, they were really excited to be on my virtual summits. And the listeners, they had so much transformation occurring that they, they started learning the modality. They started doing the different programs. I would have people call me up or tell me, or if I met them anywhere in the world, they would kind of tell me how much the summit had changed their lives, and how much they had grown and what other classes they had taken and stuff like that. So it was just amazing.
Oh, wow. So I guess one of the questions would be is how do you get people to attend your virtual summit? What is the marketing behind it?
So it's really very simple. It's a collaborative audience sharing. So what you do is that you invite speakers to be on your. So first of all, you select a theme for your virtual summit, and this theme it depends on what you want to do with your summit. So for example, if you are just starting out new and you want to use the virtual summit as a business model, so then you just go with a theme that you love, you enjoy, whatever you love. But say, for example, you are an established coach and you already have a program, and what you want to do is you want to fill up your program with your virtual summit. Then what you're going to do is you take your signature program, you look at the big problem that your program solves, and then that big problem becomes the theme of your virtual summit. So once you have the theme, then what you do is you invite speakers who are going to give you micro solutions to that big problem. And so those become the topics of your virtual summit. And then these speakers, obviously they have their own audience, they have their own email database. And so what they do is that they invite their audience to listen to this virtual summit. And their audience has to sign up for this virtual summit in order to listen to all the free interviews. And so that's how you end up creating an audience of thousands of raving fans. And here's the thing, in the virtual summit, you are the one who is doing all the interviews. You are the common thread. So, everyone is exposed to you. So you have that authority built expert status. And one of the things that I always, recommend is that you yourself teach something during the virtual summit. So, you also get that speaker tag. And that's how you end up creating your whole audience. And once the summit is over, then you can go through the launch process for your signature program. And now you have this amazing, engaged, captive audience.
Wow.
Who is just, ready to go with your offer.
That's so simple.
It is. And there's a lot of moving pieces to it, which right?
Yes, there are. I guess, you go from, the virtual summit to, your email lists and all that sort of thing. How do you know what to charge? Do you have a free group and a paid group, for your summit, or do you just have a paid group?
I always love to offer the free. So, my summits are all free. So it's free for people to attend. And then all the recordings, they can access them for 48 hours. So if people would like, now, of course, if you are doing like a 3-day summit and you have like 20 interviews in those 3 days, so obviously you cannot listen to all of those. So then people have a chance to upgrade and buy the upgrade package, and that allows them to, access the recordings later.
Ah, yes, that sounds like a bloody brilliant plan.
Absolutely. And the good news is that, people who would like to attend for free get to attend for free. And then there are those who love to have the recordings. And of course, I always focus on the content. I love to bring forth content which the experts actually charge money for. And so what happens is you end up creating this robust, almost like product, from the entire virtual summit, because this is something people would be willing to pay for. And that's where, the monetization piece comes in.
Yeah, it's very similar to what we're doing. So I think we're on the right track, which is really great. So
is this the first time you're doing
so
it?
what? Sorry?
Is this the first time you're doing the summit?
The second time we did a summit in March. which wasn't as successful, but this one's got a lot more well-known speakers to it. So we're hoping this one will be more successful. But I think that it takes time for them to be, well known, I guess, to know that you're going to be putting summits on, and the lady that's doing this is only her second one. So, but it's the first time in Australia that it's actually a virtual summit for 3 days or something. I'm not quite sure. She's got some sort of thing going on. Anyway, my question, I lost my train of thought then. Yes, what do you use as a platform for broadcasting your virtual summits?
So I do my, I have pretty much done most of my virtual summits as audio summits. And it's only the more recent summits that we've done the video version. So when I was doing audio, we would do instant teleseminar. And I love instant teleseminar. It's really brilliant in that way. And then recently we use Zoom. But once my entire virtual summits are hosted on Kajabi. So once the interviews are over, then everything is uploaded on Kajabi and people can listen to the free version on Kajabi. And then, if people have purchased the all access pass, then they can get access to it on Kajabi as well.
Oh, very good. It sounds really interesting, the way that you're doing it. It's I've heard it done by others similar to that. So yeah, it's something that we could maybe look into when we finish up ours next week. Nilofer, have you written any books about online summits and what people should be doing?
I actually haven't written books about online summits, but I have repurposed my summits into books. So I have 7 books published, and 5 of those are actually, repurposed from summits. So it's like, it was amazing. You do these summits, you have all these interviews, you can transcribe the interviews, and then off they go into a book. So I have 5 books like that coming from summits.
Congratulations. Well done.
Yeah. Yep.
And have you thought about podcasting? Because a virtual podcast is much like a summit anyway, and you just interview different people on different days of the week.
Exactly. It's coming very soon. I've actually, I have already done 9 interviews, and, I've been really busy with my launch calendar and stuff like that. So as soon as there is some space, then my podcast is going live. It's called the Genius Activator Podcast.
Oh, that's really good. I'll have to have a listen when it comes out.
Absolutely.
Nilofer, have you got any last words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience today?
I find I'm just going through this 30-day virtual summit intensive, in which I'm teaching people how to put together a virtual summit in 30 days. So every single day they get this little little assignment that they have to do, and in 30 days everything gets done. And as I have been creating it, I realize just how much I love virtual summits, how much I love connecting with people, how much I love interviewing people, and how effortless this whole journey of virtual summits has been for me. Of course, the technology and all that was a learning curve, but once you learn it, you know it all. And so if, there is someone who's starting off in business, and even if they don't know what to do in their business, the virtual summit is an amazing business model. And literally you can put together your first virtual summit in 30 to 60 days. And at the end of it, you have money. You don't have to wait for the money. Isn't it like, I think the biggest transformational moment for me was in my first virtual summit, when my summit went live, and then I started getting those notifications of payment received. There's nothing like receiving those ding 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 ding. Because I live in UAE, and we had all these restrictions, so I only had PayPal. So to receive all those notifications upon notifications upon notifications of payment received, oh my God, that is the most exciting feeling in the world.
Yes. Ding, ding, the little cash register going ding, ding.
Exactly. I just
I
love it.
guess one thing I didn't ask was, how does anyone start to organise a virtual summit?
It's great that you ask. I have this little Google Doc that I've created, which is called the Virtual Summit Blueprint. And I have actually kind of listed my story about virtual summits and what are the 5 steps that you require. So, I can share that with our listeners. And yeah.
Yeah, what might the 5 steps be? If you want to run through those quickly, that would be great.
Okay, so the first step is, of course, your idea and your theme for the virtual summit. So, I talked about it a little bit. Yeah. The second step is where you, do the speakers, you select the speakers, the speaker outreach. Okay. Step number 3 is, all the moving pieces, all the technology pieces and all of that good stuff, which you do. Step number 4 is the monetization piece, and 4 and 5 are kind of interchangeable because sometimes some people like to do a pre-recorded version of the summit, so they record all the interviews and then the monetization follows. But the way that I have always done it, I think only one was where we pre-recorded. The way I did it was that always, I had live interviews. So for me, the excitement was that even before the summit launched, there was all this money coming in. Because, in that promotion period of the virtual summit, people, all your speakers are emailing, you have all these, email subscribers signing up for your virtual summit. And once people sign up, you have all the people buying your, upgrade package, and you haven't even done the first interview. And that was like so much fun for me. So that's, the monetization piece and actually doing the interviews, running the summit. So that's step number 4 and 5.
No,
And
thank you for sharing that. That's very helpful for those that want to run their first virtual summit. It's not really as hard as people think it is.
no, it is not. It's so much fun.
Nilofer, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you, and thank you for sharing your knowledge on virtual summits. It's been quite interesting, and I'm sure that our listeners will now be rushing out to start their own.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see all the amazing virtual summits that show up. And thank you so much for having me, Rose.
Just before we go, where can people find you if they'd like to work with you?
So my website is www.niloferlight.com, and I'm on Facebook as Nilofer Safdar. I'm on Instagram at Nilofer Safdar, and LinkedIn Nilofer Safdar.
Perfect.
If you do a Google search, you'll find me.
That's good. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing and coming on today. I've really appreciated your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Talking with the experts.